How do you do, sir?
How you doing? Good to see you.
Good. Thanks for coming. Our next guest speaker is Mr. Parnell Diggs, who is running in the Democratic primary for the 7th Congressional District. And we'd like to hear a warm welcome from Mr. Diggs. He is the president of the National Foundation of the Blind of South Carolina.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Pat Hoffman came over a minute ago and she said, you know, Parnell, you are the only Democrat among the 7th District candidates who will be speaking this afternoon. Apparently, my good friend Ted Vick, he chickened out, I guess. You can tell him I said so. My name is Parnell Diggs, and I want to be a congressman. I was very pleased to be invited. I'm delighted to come. I want to start by telling you a story. In my capacity as president of the National Federation of the Blind of South Carolina, I have an opportunity from time to time to travel to Washington and talk with our congressional delegation. A few weeks ago, I had a chance to sit down with Joe Wilson. Joe and I were talking about things that we could do to help blind people transition from government assistance programs to the workforce. Because you see, blind people already qualify for a government check. I've dedicated the last 23 years of my life to helping blind people move from government assistance to the workforce. And I was talking with Joe and he said, you know, Parnell, I understand that you're running for Congress as a Democrat, and I want you to know I just got back from a meeting with Jim Clyburn. Joe had just talked with Jim Clyburn about some legislative issues, and he said, you know, Parnell, I suppose the media won't talk about that. And I said, I know, Joe, they like to talk about polarization. We need to send leaders to Washington with the capacity to compromise. And so through the years, I have been very pleased to sit down and talk with leaders on both sides of the aisle about programs that create business opportunities, stimulate the economy, and help people to achieve self-support. I was born blind in 1969. My family had not had a blind child. They didn't know many blind people. When I was born, they were young and scared. They didn't know what the future would be like for a kid who was blind growing up in this land of freedom and opportunity. But they instilled in me the value of striving for independence and not just sitting back and accepting assistance from the government. I attended school for 12 years, public school, which was somewhat unique at the time because when I entered first grade, the government had just enacted legislation that would enable blind people to attend class alongside their sighted peers. So I went to public school. I went to Carolina, double majored in political science and religious studies. I went to law school at Carolina. When I graduated, people were not beating down the door seeking to hire a blind guy. So I handled programs of rehabilitation for a short time, helping other blind people, placing them in gainful employment. Then my father opened an office at a law firm here on Oak Street. It gave me a chance to practice law. Then after 6 years, I left his office and opened my own business. I practice in Garden City. I've been in practice now for 15 years. I'm a husband and a father. My son is in 6th grade. I'm concerned about his future. How much time? We done? I want to make sure that he has a bright future in the time to come, ladies and gentlemen, and I conclude by saying this. I may be the only Democrat here speaking to you this afternoon, but I'm also the only candidate who might have had a chance just to sit back and receive support, but I've decided to work and participate in the good of society, and I believe it's possible for others to do likewise. I would appreciate your thinking about Parnell Diggs in the primary election and also in November. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Diggs.